When we picture a medieval castle, we often imagine towering stone walls, grand feasts, and knights in shining armor. But castles were more than just fortresses or the homes of lords and ladies. They were bustling, self-contained worlds, vibrant ecosystems teeming with life, noise, and constant activity. The true story of the castle isn't just one of kings and queens. It's found in the echoes of daily life, in the footsteps of the countless people who lived, worked, and grew up within these imposing stone walls. Forget the fairy tales. Today, we're stepping back into the 14th century to uncover the hidden reality of what it was really like to live inside a medieval castle from the break of dawn to the fall of night. We'll explore the lives of the people who were the true engine of this world, the servants, the artisans, the guards, and even the children. This is the story of the castle household, the beating heart behind the cold stone. Long before the sun crested the horizon, the castle began to stir. The first to rise around 5:30 in the morning were the servants. They were the invisible engine that powered the entire household. For most, the day started in the dim, smoky halls, sweeping away the rushes from the previous night and laying down fresh ones. Their duties were endless and varied. Young boys and girls would be sent to fetch water from the well, a physically demanding task that had to be done in all weather. Others tended to the livestock kept within the castle walls: chickens, pigs, and perhaps a cow or two, essential for the daily supply of food. The servant hierarchy was strict. Pages, often boys from noble families learning courtly manners, had a different life from the lower servants who performed the back-breaking labor. For these men, women, and children, life was a cycle of chores, cleaning chambers, mending clothes, and serving the needs of the Lord's family. They were often unseen and unheard, yet without their tireless work, the entire castle would grind to a halt. From the central courtyard, a rhythmic clang of hammer on anvil echoed throughout the day. This was the domain of the blacksmith, one of the most vital artisans in the entire castle community. His forge was a place of intense heat, smoke, and deafening noise. The blacksmith wasn't just making swords and armor for knights. His role was far more fundamental. He was the master of repair. A broken plow, a loose hinge on a gate, a snapped link in a chain, all of it came to him. He crafted the nails that held the very buildings together, the tools used by other craftsmen, and the everyday ironware for the kitchen. His work was dirty, dangerous, and required immense skill and strength. In a world without mass production, the blacksmith was the linchpin of technology and maintenance. He literally forged the tools of survival, making him an indispensable and respected figure whose fiery workshop was a constant, glowing presence in the heart of the castle. If the forge was the heart of the castle's industry, the kitchen was its stomach, and keeping that stomach full was a monumental task. The kitchen was one of the first places to come alive, with cooks and their assistants lighting the massive hearths. This wasn't as simple as flicking a switch. It meant hauling in huge amounts of firewood to get the fires roaring for a long day of cooking. The air was thick with smoke and the smell of roasting meat and baking bread. One of the most important tasks was brewing. Beer, or ale, was the universal drink for everyone, from the lord to the lowest servant, as water was often unsafe to drink. A single household could consume thousands of gallons a year. The kitchen itself was a high-security area. With food being such a precious commodity, access was often restricted to prevent theft or, even worse, the poisoning of the Lord's family. It was a hot, chaotic, and high-pressure environment, a microcosm of the castle itself, dedicated to the daily ritual of feeding hundreds of hungry mouths. While life bustled within the walls, a select group of men kept a watchful eye on the world outside. The castle guards were the protectors, the embodiment of the fortress's military purpose. But their daily life wasn't always one of dramatic battles. It was a routine of vigilance and discipline. Days were spent training in the bailey, practicing with swords, spears, and crossbows to keep their skills sharp. Their primary duty was patrol. They walked the battlements, hour after hour, peering out through narrow arrow slits that offered a fragmented view of the surrounding landscape. At night, their responsibility deepened, standing guard in the dark, listening for any sound that might signal a threat. Their presence was as much symbolic as it was practical. The sight of armed guards on the walls was a constant reminder to allies and enemies alike of the Lord's power and the security of his domain. They were the silent, steadfast sentinels of the stone keep. Amidst the work and vigilance, there was another sound, the laughter and chatter of children. Growing up in a castle was a vastly different experience depending on your social standing. Noble children, especially boys, might serve as pages. Their education was a mix of academic lessons in Latin and French, and practical training in manners, music, and the arts of chivalry. They were being groomed for a life of leadership. For the children of servants, blacksmiths, or guards, life was very different. Their education was work. From a young age, they were expected to contribute, learning their parents' trades, helping in the kitchens, or running errands. Yet they were still children. In the quieter moments, they would find space to play in the shadows of the great keep, chasing each other through the courtyards or playing games with knucklebones or simple wooden toys. Their lives, a blend of premature responsibility and fleeting childhood, added another layer of humanity to the stone fortress. As dusk fell, the fires were banked and the great halls grew dimmer. The relentless activity of the day slowly subsided, replaced by the quiet watch of the night guards. The castle was never truly still, never truly silent. The story of these stone giants is not just in their architecture or the battles they endured. It's in the collective memory of the thousands of individuals who called them home. The servant rising at dawn, the blacksmith sweating at his forge, the cook brewing ale, the guard on the wall, and the child playing in the yard, they were all part of a complex, living community. Their daily lives, filled with hardship, routine, and small moments of connection, are the true legacy of the medieval castle. They are the echoes in the keep that tell us the real story of life behind the walls. Thank you for joining us on this journey back in time. If you enjoyed this glimpse into medieval life, please like this video and subscribe for more stories from history.